Hi, it's KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green, and my guests are from an upcoming concert event at Public Space One in Iowa City. Creighton Gaynor from Natural Talent Music is with us, and you're kind of serving as producer of this event. Creighton, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be back, Dennis.
And the star of our show from his apartment in Brooklyn, New York, trumpeter Michael Sarian. Michael, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, nice to have you. So the concert is coming up on the 9th of May at Public Space One in Iowa City. And Michael, this is part of your tour, and it's your ESQUINA project. Before we go into detail about that, just give me a little bit of Michael Sarian's story. You have even more of a musical and cultural gumbo in your history than a lot of musicians do. I know, born in Toronto, raised in Buenos Aires, your heritage is Armenian. You've got all kinds of influences in there. So tell me a little bit about your music and how you got started as a musician.
Yeah, I know I don't always seem to look the part, but once people start asking questions, it's a lot of surprise faces. Yeah, like you said, I was born in Toronto, moved to Argentina when I was 1 year old, lived there for like basically my whole life. Moved to New York in 2012. Yeah, so I mean, we had a piano at home growing up. Both my brother and I started taking lessons at a young age. Our school had a good arts program. So like in middle school, they handed me the trumpet in middle school band, and I really took to it. And yeah, that was kind of like, in my mind, the only thing I really excelled at, and kind of I figured I might as well stick with it, you know. And I did, for better for worse. And yeah, you know, as you grow older, I feel like we all search for meaning and identity in some way. And I'm saying this now as almost 40 years old. Like, I'm sure when I was like 17, I was just happy to play whatever and just, you know, do whatever. But the older we get, like, I feel like you want things to have more of a connection. You want to connect more with, or at least I want to connect more with what I'm doing at as many levels as possible. So at first I did a lot of Argentine, like I tried to incorporate a lot of Argentine rhythms and vocabulary and harmony in what I was doing musically. And then when I moved to New York in 2012, I really connected with the Armenian community here. And that kind of gave me a whole another and deeper level of connection to what I could access artistically, culturally, and personally. So like I've been really trying to like incorporate Armenian sounds in most of what I do. You know, not everything can be one thing. I'm lucky to have so many things in my background that I can access and tap into. But I feel like my Armenian identity has really been really fruitful and generous in providing for inspiration.
You mentioned that when you got to New York in 2012, that was when you really got connected into the Armenian community. But was that a part of your family life? I mean, did you really identify as, you know, someone of Armenian heritage growing up, or was it something that you kind of came in later?
I came in later. I mean, I always knew I was Armenian. Obviously, it wasn't hidden from me or anything. But like you said, there's so many other things going on, especially in kids' lives. And a big part of the Armenian identity and culture and community is based in the church. And we weren't really religious. We didn't go to church that much or at all, really. So I feel like I never really got to properly tap into that part of my heritage in Argentina. When I moved to New York, I connected with this nonprofit organization here called AGBU, Armenian Global Benevolent Union. It's a global organization, but it's headquartered in New York. And I worked with them for 10 years in the arts department. And that really opened up, that really made me see what it was all about, like met so many people and learned a lot about the Armenian culture outside of, you know, what I had known before, which is very little.
Your new project is called ESQUINA, and that's the tour that you're bringing to Public Space One on the 9th. And that in particular taps into this Armenian aspect to your life and music, yes?
The album, not so much, because
Okay.
I developed this project when I was on the road, and I was doing a very mainstream pop tour it was it was 4 month long tour, and I was just kind of tapping, like listening to a lot of Miles Davis on the corner and Agartha, these really experimental electric albums, and I kind of just I wasn't even planning on this being something. I had a gig for the end of the tour back at home in New York, and I was like, let me just see if this works out. So I didn't do a lot of, I just kind of, I wanted to see if something would work out, regardless if I was connecting it to Armenian or Argentine or whatever. So the album is on, like, there was barely any rehearsal. We kind of went into the studio and it seemed to work. So that's when I started to like really write more scores and more music and use a lot of the graphic scores. It's a lot of graphic scores that I work with. So moving forward, yeah, a lot of like the live shows that we do, there'll be at least one Armenian piece, one Armenian inspired piece for sure. But the album itself, unfortunately, I didn't have that much foresight, but you know, still very happy with it. Yeah.
Scratch a jazz musician, and chances are you'll find somebody who will say that they were definitely influenced by Miles Davis. So I'm sure as a trumpet player, you've been influenced by Miles your entire career. But what was it when you were listening to these particular albums and kind of in this particular moment? What aspects of Miles inspired this project?
I mean, it's all like Miles Davis, right? But he'll intervene, he'll play a little bit, and then it'll be the rhythm section. And it's like I was just trying to like listen to what the unifying idea was, what made this piece like this piece and not just some sort of like jam that they started like. So that's kind of like a challenge that I found to be fun, like on the road, like in the back of the tour bus, just like late night, listening to these, you know, more experimental sounds than I was playing, and then just trying to figure out what was the direction, what did Miles say that made this piece be this piece and not just whatever, you know, random thing. So that was kind of what the fun and inspirational search there.
Creighton, you're acting as a producer of this show at Public Space One, and I know you've got Michael's group. I want to find out about the composition of that, but tell us a little bit about how this show is going to go. And I know you've got a great local band to open for Michael.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I was contacted by John over at Public Space One, John Engelbrecht, who's, you know, one of the people doing just amazing things in the community here in Iowa City in this area for the arts. Public Space One, the Close House, is a really unique venue because it's an old historic home. So it's not your typical live music venue with, you know, a bunch of bar seats and smelly stuff. It's a pretty cool spot. So we get a lot of unique things that happen there. And it's also kind of a community center, I guess you could say, with young artists and young folks. I'm really, really happy to have the experimental sounds coming through because that's a really big thing that's happening. I mean, it's always going on, to tell you the truth, but right now I know we have a lot of people that are just kind of out there doing the things that speak to them and finding those connections with other folks in town to kind of make that stuff happen. So having Michael in and his group doing what he's doing, it's a really nice fit specifically for that venue and really for Iowa City right now because the underground scene and slightly above underground scene is pretty popping right now in Iowa City. So it'll be a nice mix to come in. And Public Space One, like I said, it's just a great place to have a show. It's so different than every other show, but the room sounds good. It's gonna look good because there's like cool art all over the place, and it's a DIY kind of spot. There's dancing that happens up on the second floor. It's a great building for all sorts of stuff. So yeah, we're just looking forward to making it happen. I'm glad John reached out to me to get on this and get together with Michael and just try to make something happen. For a change, I'm not playing on the show or anything like that. You know, I'm just going to be there helping to put it together. As you mentioned, Dennis, I was able to connect Michael with Sam Ross. So Sam Ross is going to have his quartet playing. Everybody probably knows Sam, who's listening to this, a local young sax player who's doing a lot of good stuff in the area. He'll be back at Summer of the Arts Jazz Fest again this summer, like he was last year too. So we're looking forward to him starting the show at 7 o'clock, and then we'll go from there.
It's a wonder Sam has time to get to his University of Iowa classes. He's
Right?
gigging so much. But yeah, glad to have him on this show. Michael, what is the ensemble then that you play with? What's your composition? You know, a quartet?
Yeah. So it's quartet. It's the same quartet. It's so trumpet, obviously, piano or keys in this case, bass and drums, and it's the same quartet I've been working with for the past like 5 years. All of our other releases have been acoustic and very like different than this. So it was fun to kind of, you know, put something different in front of the musicians, like a different looking score, and see what happens, and just tell them like no upright, play electric, bring as many effects pedals as you like, and kind of do whatever you want. And it was really fun. Yeah.
How about with your trumpet? Will you be using electronic effects there too?
Yeah. I have a pretty substantial pedal board that I play with when I'm more local gigs. When we're on the road, I'll have a reduced version of it. But yeah, there'll definitely be a bunch of effects.
I think that that's really fun. We think of effects with keyboards and guitars and things like that, but with a horn, you can really manipulate the sound in some fun ways.
Yeah, and I think the challenge, I think, is like, in spite of it all, managing for it to still sound like a trumpet, and not just whatever else. It could be anything going through whatever effect, but like having it still sound like a trumpet, I think is like the fun challenge there.
You mentioned that you started to get the idea for this album and this project when you were on the road with a pop tour. And just because we all love to hear about brushes with greatness, was this with the Jonas Brothers?
It was, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So tell us one short, fun story from, being on the road with a gigantic pop group.
Being on the road, it's way more tame than people. It's not like, I feel like back in the day, maybe we've all watched like Almost Famous, and kind of maybe translate that into modern day. But at least myself, I'm not a big party guy. I don't really drink that much or at all really. But there was one funny story that I feel like, I forget where it was. I'm sure this is okay to share. It's not a big deal. One of the tour director had some fans that he was like, why don't I get you like 12 fans who are here, and I'll give you an upgrade to a suite, whatever it was. Like, it was like a nice thing he was trying to do. And they got stuck in the elevator for the whole show. I never got to it. But
Oh, some upgrade.
yeah. But I think he got them like a comp and a suite for the next like show they were able to go to. So it was all worked out. But I remember hearing about that after the show, and it was pretty funny. Yeah.
There's an Iowa connection there too, because is it Nick Jonas who's married to the actress Priyanka Chopra?
Mm-hmm.
She grew up in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, right? Right up the road. Yeah, who knows? Graduated from high school here. Small world. Michael Sarian will be performing with his ESQUINA coming up May 9th at the Public Space 1 in Iowa City. Creighton, give us the schedule and how to get tickets.
Right on. Okay, so first I want to point out that this is going to be at Public Space 1 Close House, which is 538 South Gilbert. I mentioned that because Public Space 1 actually has a couple of different locations in Iowa City. So it's going to be the one on South Gilbert. It's the huge mansion-looking house right on the corner of two streets, not the one that's more north of town. That's not the one we're doing. We're doing Close House, South Gilbert, right on the corner, the big yellow old style mansion. We're going to kick it off at 7 o'clock. We'll have the doors open a little bit earlier, around 6:30 or so, but we'll start at close to 7 as we can. Sam Ross's Quartet will play a set for, I don't know, about an hour, a little bit less or so. We'll change it over, and then we'll get Michael going right after that.
And how about tickets?
Tickets, you can get those by going to the Public Space 1 website. So I think it's just publicspace1.org that you can find them. And the tickets are all on sale there. We'd love for you to get them in advance. They'll go up a little bit more if you don't get them, and you get them at the door, of course. So get over to the website and get those tickets purchased early if you can.
Creighton, Michael, thanks so much for being with me today. Looking forward to the show. It's Michael Sarian's ESQUINA coming up at Public Space 1 on May 9th. Michael, safe travels, and we're excited to have your show in Iowa City.
Looking forward to it. Thank you.
You can hear the Culture Crawl live on the radio most weekdays at 10:30, on demand at kcck.org/culture, or subscribe using your favorite podcast player. Watch our videos on the KCCK Facebook and YouTube channels. Our producer is Lydia Kilgore. The Culture Crawl theme is composed by Vivian Shanley. I'm Dennis Green, and I'll talk to you later.